Studio Series 86 is officially coming to an end. No, I'm not joking. In a recent interview with Evan Brooks, he did confirm that 2026 is going to be the end of Studio Series 86, because he reckons by that time, he will have every character he wants done. Now, if you are anything like me, you will immediately realise that this is a massive shame to see, because the 86 line is potentially one of the best lines we've had in Transformers history. Although, if you have any other answers, I would love to hear them, because I also do, and I would like to know if we agree. But it is just a mighty shame, because we do have a lot of amazing characters confirmed for 86, but I feel like there are still so many left that he could do, and hopefully he does, because he clearly has a plan. But this is a video basically of me talking about what I hope to see for the rest of 86, and I want to know if you guys agree, because honestly, I wish the line wasn't ending, but I knew it couldn't go on forever, because it would probably become bad. Because the thing is, so many characters have already been done. We now have all the Dinobots, we have Optimus, Ultra Magnus, we have Hot Rod, Bumblebee, Starscream, basically anyone you could think of. But there are still some left, so let's get into it. Now, I did make a video not too long ago where I do talk about what 2025 holds for Transformers. And if you haven't watched that video, go watch it. I think it's a good watch. But I do want to mention some of the ones that I didn't mention in that video. But just in case you don't see it, I will cover the main two that I said in that video that wasn't the Constructicons. And that is going to be an 86 Thundercracker and Skywarp. Now, I feel like this is kind of a no-brainer. I do think this is one that kind of has to happen because we haven't had the Seekers since Earthrise. And I do think they're due an update because a lot of people don't have those characters in hand. And to say the least, they are very expensive now. I really don't think it should cost an arm and a leg to get your hands on the Seeker molds because ultimately, they are an amazing and an iconic set of characters to have in your collection. And personally speaking, I only have Starscream when it comes to the Seekers, so I do want the rest of them. But that's it really for Skywarp and Thundercracker. I talk about them a little bit more in the other video, so like I said, do check that out. The only other one I mentioned in my 2025 video that I want to re-talk about is going to be the idea of a retool or a repaint of the 86 Bumblebee mold and turn it into a cliff jumper. Because I think with this new mold for Bumblebee, I think it's the perfect time to give us a new release of cliff jumper in the first-hand market, so you don't have to deal with the aftermarket prices. Now, I know the buzzworthy Bumblebee line has a cliff jumper that is technically classed as the 86 mold, because it follows the style and the box itself says 86. But in my opinion, it's not truly the 86 one that we should have. It's just a repaint of the Earthrise mold, and he doesn't become the same vehicle mode that he becomes in the G1 show. So that is why I think we need to see a cliff jumper become the 86 Bumblebee mold. But the next main one I would like to see is Astro Train. The thing is, we haven't had Astro Train since Siege, and he is an amazing character, and I really do like the look of the molds. And I do believe he is coming out in a 3-pack soon, but it would be nice to have a solo release under the 86 line. He is literally part of one of the more memorable scenes of the 86 movie, being the one where all the Decepticons turn against each other in the fight for leadership. And I think if I can't have a G1 86 Astro Chain finish, along with the rest of my G1 figures, I would be very sad. But like I said, if he is coming out in a 3-pack, I suppose there is a new way to get your hands on him. And that probably will mean that there will be more of the Siege Astro Train on the aftermarket. But hopefully, they do just commit to doing one in the 86 line, because I think it would sell very well. The next big one I think is kind of funny, because Evan Brooks himself has mentioned that he is on the priority list, and that's going to be an 86 Soundwave. Now, what makes this really funny to me is the fact that 86 Soundwave will completely kill the sales of the Legacy Soundwave that's about to come out. I, for one, was very much looking forward to getting that Legacy Soundwave, but now knowing that 86 Soundwave is on the list and quite high up there, I have no desire to get the Legacy Soundwave anymore. I think it is probably just the definition of shooting yourself in the foot, because I think they're relying on the Legacy Soundwave to sell quite well, because it is the Netflix mold, which is quite desirable, and it also has a lot of the good cassettes. But if an 86 is coming out, it's probably just going to be superior in every way. But hey, with any luck we do get a Soundwave soon. I just really worry for how the Legacy one will sell. But if you don't like the 86 one, I have a feeling that this Legacy one is going to shelf warm because of it. Keeping up the theme with the waves, I do think Shockwave is another one that should get an 86 release. I know he doesn't have too much of a presence in the movie. He was meant to have an actual death scene in the movie, but it was cut for time. But I still think he should get an 86 release to match up with the rest. Now, he did have his release in Siege, and he was a leader class because he had all the additional armor. But I do reckon if they released a bare bones Shockwave that was just a figure at a Voyager price, I think he would sell out very well. And just in general, there needs to be a better way to get your hands on a G1 Shockwave. Because like I said, he released in Siege, and the only other one he's had since then is in the Decepticon 3-pack with Megatron and Soundwave. And it's just not a good way to get your hands on a Shockwave, because then you have to buy the Siege Megatron mold, which no one wants, and you have to get your hands on a Soundwave. And we already know what's happening with Soundwave soon, so why would you pick up that pack just for Shockwave? But hey, if Hasbro likes money, which they very much do, they will have to release a new Shockwave figure, and I do reckon one with the more 86 style will sell like hotcakes. The only other three I want to mention as hoping they come out, but one I'm less excited for now, is the 86 Megatron, the 86 Galvatron, and an 86 Rodimus Prime. Now, I personally reckon they're going to close out the line with a Commander class Rodimus Prime, because I think he will look fantastic, and I'm kind of hoping they don't just repaint the Kingdom mold, because a new take on Rodimus would be fantastic. But I have a really bad feeling that if we do get a Rodimus, which I'd be very surprised if we don't, I do think it's just going to be the Kingdom one with a repaint. And while I'm not mad at that, I do just hope we get a better one like they did with Optimus. When it comes to Megatron, we do know he's going to come in at the leader class price point, which, say it with me, buy Siege mold, you suck! I'm very much looking forward to the new take on Megatron, especially if he matches up to Commander Prime like I'm hoping, because the Siege one simply doesn't really stand now in comparison. But with any luck, they'll give Megatron the love and attention that he deserves like Optimus did, and we will get a fantastic pairing of the two. Now, the only one that's left of the three, and the one I'm disappointed in, is going to be Galvatron. And that's because he's been somewhat confirmed to just be a repaint of the Kingdom Legacy mold. And this is absolutely horrid in my opinion. I really do wish they'd gone with a new mold, but I also understand why they didn't. As someone who owns the Legacy version of Galvatron, I will say that he is basically the 86 release already, and he does come with fantastic accessories overall. He actually has my favorite variant of the Matrix, because as far as I'm aware, it's the only one where it's a solid blue in the middle and not a translucent one. But I do kind of wish we got a new take on the Galvatron mold, because I do have a couple of issues with it. But if this is the one that we're going to end up with, I'm not overly mad. I'm just kind of disappointed. Because I will say my personal plan was to take the 86 Galvatron and display it, and then take my Legacy Galvatron and have it in the turret mode, because it is a very fun mode. But now, I might just not buy the new one. I think it would take a lot for me to get the new Galvatron if it is just a repaint, because outside of that, it's not worth the leader class price point to me, especially if it's just the same thing. But that does about do it for what I want to have in the rest of 86, but there are a couple of mentions that I keep seeing online that I really hope they don't do, because in my opinion, it would just be a waste of a slot. The main one to me is that a lot of people are hoping for an 86 Blitzwing, and I have to say, please don't! The Blitzwing mold in Legacy is shelf warming like absolutely crazy. The Legacy Evolution one over in the United Kingdom went straight down to below a deluxe class price point, which is absolutely crazy to see. I truly do not think they would release an 86 Blitzwing, because he physically just won't sell. No one's picking up Blitzwing, and I also don't know how they would be able to improve on the mold. The problem you have with this mold is the fact it's a triple changer, and they've done quite well considering that, but I don't think they'd be able to improve it simply down to the fact of how do you hide tank treads in a jet, and how do you hide all the jet parts in a tank? I think the only way they'd be able to improve on the mold is if they committed to only one of the vehicle modes, and they won't do that because, simply put, that's the whole gimmick of Blitzwing. The thing is that they probably would be able to do a fantastic jet or a fantastic tank if they didn't have to worry about the other. I mean, look at the Tarn mold, look at the Cyclonus mold. They can do tanks and jets if they want. It's when you combine the two is where you get the problem, and that's why I'm hoping they don't approach it. But speaking of Cyclonus, he is the only other one I've seen people talk about that I'm hoping that they don't do, because as is, the Cyclonus mold is basically perfect. In my opinion, there's absolutely no need for an 86 Cyclonus, because people think the Kingdom one was meant to be an 86 to begin with, because it fits in perfectly with them. And the Gen Selects one is also an amazing pick. It's the one I own, and he looks amazing with the other characters. The dark purple goes so well with my Galvatron, it's kind of unbelievable. So I really do hope they're not going to reapproach this mold or give it a repaint, because I think what we have so far is completely fine. And as far as I'm aware, you can still get Cyclonus for a decent price. But if they do, I won't be mad, and I may even consider picking it up depending on the finish. But I don't think they would do it as a new mold, because I physically can't see how you could improve on a mold that is the Cyclonus one. It is basically perfect. But that about does it for what I want to see in 86 for its last 2 years of life. And also, just me talking about the fact that I'm sad that I've seen it gone. But I understand why it needs to go, because otherwise, like I said, it would probably have been ruined by time. But let me know what you guys think. What would you like to see in 86? What would you not like to see in 86? And how do you feel about the fact that the line is officially going to retire? And what will they replace it with? But like I said, let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching, take care, okay,